Have you ever heard choice modeling before? Choice modeling is a quantitative method used to predict how people make decisions when faced with multiple options. It analyzes the trade-off individuals make between attributes to determine their preferences. It enables decision makers to simulate how people will behave in real-world scenarios based on their past or state preferences. Why it is important? Choice modeling matters because real-life decisions are complex. It provides a structured way to predict behavior, allowing businesses and governments to make better informed choices before committing resources. The predictive insight reduces risk and enhances the effectiveness of strategies across various sectors. First, to understanding consumer preferences. This model identifies which features are most important to consumers and how much more they are willing to pay for those features. It reveals what truly drives purchasing decisions, even when people aren't consciously aware of those influences. Second, forecasting market demand. Before launching a product or service, companies use choice models to predict how many people would choose it over current alternatives. This helps avoid costly missteps by providing a realistic estimate of potential market performance. Third, optimizing product and service design. This helps businesses design offerings that closely match what customers want by removing features that don't matter and emphasizing those that do. This leads to more appealing for revenue and pricing strategy. Choice modeling reveals how much consumer values certain attributes, helping set prices that reflect perceived value to maximizing profit. It ensures pricing is both competitive and aligned with what customers are truly willing to pay. Lastly, customer segmentation. Different people make different choices. Choice modeling helps segment the market so strategies can be customized per group. This improves targeting, messaging, and overall marketing effectiveness.
One of the biggest strengths of choice modeling is its ability to reflect real-world decision-making. Instead of just asking people what they prefer, it presents them with an actual scenario like choosing between different products, services, or travel options, and observe how they respond. This leads to more accurate and realistic data. It is also highly flexible. Researchers can test various combinations of features like price, quality, or location, and find out exactly which factor matters the most to the people. This helps businesses and policymakers design better products and services, tailored to what users actually value. And because it uses statistical models, choice modeling can predict future behaviors, even in situations that haven't happened yet. That's a big advantage in planning and forecasting. First, it can be time-consuming and costly to design. You need to carefully create the choice sets, pre-test them, and collect enough data for the results to be reliable. Second, if the scenarios are too complex or unrealistic, participants might get confused or give rush answers, which can affect the quality of the data. And finally, choice modeling relies on the assumption that people make rational decisions, but human choices can be emotional, inconsistent, or influenced by outside factors that aren't always captured in a model.
Now, let's move on to international case studies on choice modeling. First, let's start with Europe. Researchers wanted to know what people think about marine plastic pollution, from large visible items like bottles and bags to tiny microplastic you can't even see. Researchers employed a discrete choice experiment methodology with various hypothetical marine litter reduction programs, each differing in aspects such as the type of plastic targeted, the location of cleanup efforts, and the cost associated with each program. They found that people from different countries valued certain improvements differently. Most people want clearer seas, especially beaches and marine habitats. They are willing to pay more in taxes or fees if it helps reduce plastic pollution. Next, in the Netherlands, researchers looked at how people with solar panels felt about sharing their extra electricity. They used a choice model to explore different options, such as recipient of shared electricity, compensation, and sharing method, which is direct or indirect. So, most people preferred sharing their energy with low-income neighbors, especially if it was simple and fair. Interestingly, not everyone wanted full payment. Many were okay with smaller rewards if the system felt more socially just and green. In Japan, the focus was on disaster risk reduction, especially floods, which are becoming more frequent with climate change. Participants were given scenarios with options like the type of solution, how much flood damage could be reduced, how likely a disaster is to happen, and the extra taxes they would need to pay. They found that people supported nature-based solutions like restoring wetlands, especially if it clearly reduced the risk and wasn't too expensive. It showed that people are more open to green solutions when they understand the benefits. In Burkina Faso, a choice experiment was used with farmers to explore how they would manage land and crops more sustainably. The options included how much soil erosion would be controlled, water availability, crop yield improvement, labor needed, and the cost per year in local currency. So, they find that farmers preferred options that gave them better water access and protected their soil, even if it meant more effort, as long as the cost was reasonable. It highlighted how small-scale farmers balance effort, benefit, and affordability. Finally, in Vietnam, researchers look at how people value the conservation of swamp forests, which are rich in biodiversity. The options in the study were how much of the wetland would be protected, whether it protects general or endangered species, water quality, whether people can access the wetland, and annual contribution in Vietnamese dong. Therefore, people were most supportive when the program protected endangered species, improved water quality, and still allowed the community to visit the area. It showed that people support conservation when they feel included and still use the resource responsibly.
Let's get into the past studies from Malaysia that employed choice modeling to assess public preferences and willingness to pay for various environmental improvements. First, in Selangor, a study by Peck and Othman 2009 focused on public preferences for waste disposal methods. The options: open dumping, the cheapest but with serious health and environmental impacts. Second, incinerators space saving but contributors to air pollution. And sanitary landfills, the cleanest and safest but the most expensive to maintain. Using a choice modeling survey, residents expressed a clear preference for sanitary landfills. Even though it meant higher cost, this shows a strong willingness to trade off lower prices in favor of environmental safety and hygiene. Next, in the bustling Klang Valley, researchers Muhammad Shafi'i and colleagues 2022 examined how people feel about urban air pollution. Participants were asked to choose between different air quality policy scenarios. Some options promised cheaper fuel or vehicle use but with more emissions. Others offered cleaner transportation and better air quality, but at a cost such as higher taxes or public investment. The study found that many Klang Valley residents were willing to pay more for cleaner skies and better health. They clearly valued long-term environmental health over short-term affordability. Over in Terengganu, a study led by Cik Ibrahim et al. 2019 explored what people really want in their water supply services. Choices in the survey included variations in water pressure, cleanliness, frequency of service interruption, and of course, monthly costs. What did the people choose? The overwhelming preference was for high-quality water, clean, uninterrupted, and with strong pressure, even if it meant paying a higher utility bill. Here, Malaysians showed a clear priority for reliable, essential services, especially when it comes to health and hygiene. Further north, in Matang, Perak, the focus was on mangrove conservation. In a 2017 study by Hashim, Rahman and Hashim, residents of Kuala Sepetang area were presented with different land management scenarios. Some offered more tourism access or logging opportunities, creating income but risking ecological harm. Others promised complete conservation, protecting habitats for birds and marine life, but limiting development. Most respondents preferred the conservation-first approach. This suggests a strong local awareness of the long-term value of nature, even when weighed against economic gains. And finally, in Kuala Lumpur, a study by Zaid and Graham 2015 explored what urban Malaysians want in a home, not just the look, but how it performs for the environment. Survey participants were given choices between different types of housing. Some included natural ventilation, green spaces, and low carbon emissions. Others were standard, cheaper units with no sustainability features. The majority preferred the eco-friendly homes, showing a preference for comfort, better airflow, and climate-conscious living, even if the price was slightly higher. It's a sign that sustainable urban design is no longer a niche idea. It's what people increasingly want.